While some say the move prevents unconstitutional gerrymandering, others are arguing the ruling will hurt minority voters. Fallout across the country and here in Alabama one day after the Supreme Court ruled in Louisiana versus Calais, finding a black majority congressional district in that state relied too heavily on race. The district was added in 2024 to correct a map that the courts found discriminatory. This decision comes less than 3 years after the same Supreme Court ruled that Alabama must draw a new map featuring a second majority black district, the result of the Allen versus Milligan case. Yesterday's ruling has led to both praise and concern from politicians about the potential effect it will have here in Alabama. Fox 54's Kate Maguire tells us what the ruling could mean for voters.
The Supreme Court ruled against congressional redistricting, favoring majority black districts, and State House Majority Whip James Lomax says it could lead to new congressional maps here in Alabama that lean more heavily to the right.
I'm excited about the ruling. I think it's one of these things that we need to look at and see if there's a way we can quickly jump on this and make sure that our state's congressional representation reflects what the people of Alabama actually want. We've had maps in the past that we've been able to present that I think would have allowed the voice of the people of Alabama to be reflected in their congressional seats, and that's all anyone wants. We're a supermajority Republican state. Our congressional delegation should reflect that.
But some, like Dr. Ansley Quiros from the University of North Alabama, say the ruling is ultimately about diluting the Democrats' vote in districts where black voters currently make up a majority.
I think it's clearly a racial issue. I think what is complicating it is, the Voting Rights Act was about race, not about partisanship. And so I think we're in a moment where partisan identity and racial identities, it's not a perfect mirror image, but it's pretty close. Black Americans fall much more heavily into the Democratic Party. They are a big constituency within that group, much less in the Republican Party, which is majority white.
It's a sentiment echoed by State House Minority Leader Anthony Daniels, who says a district's representative should be someone who understands and represents their community.
We're walking, but we're not running. And in some instances, we're crawling, as I referenced earlier. So I just want us to think through these decisions and the impact of these decisions that are being made by people that have no real understanding of what's going on on the ground in these communities. That's unconscionable to me, and that's a problem.
It's still too early to tell how or when Alabama's congressional map could be changed, but many say it could dilute Democratic votes and strengthen the Republican vote here in Alabama. In Huntsville, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
Just moments ago, Alabama's Secretary of State Wes Allen filed a motion to expedite consideration of Alabama's redistricting case to allow the state to pursue congressional maps that, quote, reflect the will of the people. Governor Kay Ivey said yesterday that Alabama is not in a position to have a special session at this time, but Attorney General Steve Marshall said the state will act as quickly as possible to apply the ruling to Alabama's redistricting efforts, leaving the status of the May 19th primary election unclear.
Sir, you are a go for cut.
You just heard and saw it there today. Marks a major step in Space Command's move to the Rocket City, the commander of the agency in Huntsville today to officially open the command's first operational facility on Redstone Arsenal. It's where we begin. I'm Kenesha Dees. It's a process that's been years in the making. Space Command was reestablished by President Trump in 2019 at Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado Springs. Back in 2021, the Air Force identified Redstone Arsenal as the preferred location for the new headquarters. On September 2nd of last year, President Trump announced Space Command would officially move to the Rocket City. Then on April 15th, the first wave of personnel from the J2 Intelligence Directorate arrived in Huntsville. Space Command says they expect to have around 200 workers in Huntsville by the end of the year. Full occupancy projected around 2032. But this building is just a fraction of the sprawling facility planned for the Arsenal. On April 20th, during a luncheon with more than 200 Huntsville community leaders in Washington, D.C., Space Command leaders released renderings for the permanent headquarters with the large octagonal building as the centerpiece. The next day, a House committee approved $565 million for its construction. But while the Trump administration moves forward with establishing Huntsville as the permanent home of Space Command, a lawsuit from the state of Colorado aims to halt the relocation. Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser filed the suit against President Trump and 11 federal agencies, alleging a coordinated campaign of retaliation against the state for its mail-in voting policies. On April 13th, a federal judge set a discovery cutoff date for late October, with another deadline in early December. A 5-day bench trial will follow. But despite the ongoing litigation, Space Force cut the ribbon on a brand new interim facility beside Redstone Arsenal's Gate 10 this afternoon, where Space Command employees will work until their permanent facility is built. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo joins us live outside Redstone Arsenal, where General Stephen Whiting cut the ribbon on the new facility just hours ago. Caleb, is the new headquarters of Space Command taking shape?
Yeah, Kanisha, the newest facility has been in development for weeks. The Space Command's transition team has been moving the necessary parts, pieces, and people from Colorado Springs to Huntsville. Redstone Arsenal made the space, and now Space Command is here to stay. Dozens of officials and employees from Space Command showed up for today's ribbon cutting, and they got an inside look at the office where up to 80 personnel will be working for the next few years. According to General Stephen Whiting with U.S. Space Command, it's just the latest development in a multi-building expansion on Redstone Arsenal.
Not only is this move of U.S. Space Command something that's going to happen in the future, but right now, starting today and every day as we move to the right, there will be people here in North Alabama that are executing U.S. Space Command's critical mission. So now Huntsville is a part of that ecosystem who is responsible for helping to protect and defend American interests in space each and every day. And that will only grow as we move forward.
Yeah, and Space Command employees will be working here for the next few years before the opening of their 700,000 square foot headquarters, expected by 2031. Live in Huntsville, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
Thank you, Caleb. During today's ceremony, Space Command also revealed Space Command staff will gather for a leadership planning event at the new facility in 6 weeks. For now, Space Command staff will be working inside the interim office space before they break ground on the final facility, where they ultimately expect up to 1,800 employees. It was a busy day on Redstone Arsenal as the U.S. Army Space and Missile Defense Command welcomed a new leader this morning.
In keeping with tradition, Lieutenant General Gainey will pass the SMDC colors to General Leneve, relinquishing command. General Leneve will pass the colors to Lieutenant General Rafferty, officially charging him with his new command.
That was the moment Lieutenant General John Rafferty assumed command of the Space and Missile Defense Command on Redstone Arsenal. Ahead of the ceremony, Rafferty expressed his appreciation for the Rocket City and local support for Redstone.
You can tell that the Huntsville community really wraps its arms around Redstone Arsenal, takes care of our soldiers and our civilians and our contractors, and this this special relationship between government and industry is what has given us the capability to defend the homeland and defend U.S. assets around the world. And we look forward to continuing that, and we're going to need all the help we can get.
Rafferty also says that with the coming additions to Redstone, like U.S. Space Command, more local support will be needed.
After weeks of speculation online and hundreds of phone calls to the city of Athens, officials are moving ahead with a change to the zoning ordinance addressing data centers within city limits. The council voted unanimously to say any data center that wants to come to Athens would have to build inside the city's industrial park, shown here. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo explains.
The city of Athens is addressing the opportunity for a data center inside the city limits, but that comes with a set of stipulations before a company could announce its arrival.
City officials say it's all to be proactive, adding it's addressing data centers to match other cities in the region. The amendment will allow for the possibility of a data center in a conditional use agreement for the city's industrial zone. That means any future data center in that area would have to get special permits and go through a public input process to set up shop in the industrial park.
They could come in a majority of places that we probably wouldn't prefer them to be. So we're being proactive. We're making sure that if they do come, they have to meet certain criteria and they have to fit our mold. There are going to be so many steps that they have to take to even be considered. And then beyond that, they're going to have to answer questions about environmental issues, medical and health issues, noise issues.
But city leaders say Athens doesn't have the room for a massive data center, and this ordinance change would limit any construction to a confined area.
Data centers, to the best of my knowledge, has the need for anywhere from 75, 200 and so acres even to have a data center. The city of Athens has a total of about 40 acres in an industrial park. So there is no opportunity here.
In addition, city officials say the ordinance gives the city an option for future growth without making a guarantee for a new data center, giving residents a say before a company ever breaks ground. In Athens, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
During tonight's public hearing, dozens of people showed up to give their input on the zoning ordinance change, with many saying they don't want to see a data center in their neighborhood. A community in Athens has been asking for infrastructure upgrades for years. Residents on Strain Road say they've seen consistent flooding issues, with solutions taking longer than expected. The city of Athens has had a plan in progress for roughly 2 years, costing around $16 million to address drainage and gravity sewer issues. Residents were told upgrades would begin at the start of the year, but so far, nothing has happened.
It's hard to be patient. Matter of fact, we got people praying now that it don't rain.
Residents in Athens are praying it doesn't rain because when it does, it doesn't go away easily. Residents say it's been a problem spanning multiple decades.
It really started when they started building around us. And I don't know, I guess it put us in a slope. And so I would say at least 25 years. Our yard floods out, front and back. Our septic tank is in the back, and water, comes down from the houses up from us.
Infrastructure and flooding issues aren't new to the Strain Road community. Athens has plans in place, but residents haven't seen or heard any updates.
They said we was going to get new pipes, especially when we got, we was going to get new water lines and everything, especially when we got this new community over here, and because it got worse. And we haven't heard anything about it.
A handful of those residents coming to Monday night's city council meeting, searching for answers to their long-asked questions.
We are addressing the drainage on West Strain Road. We're working with the Bridgeforth family to address the changing of the ditch. We've said that from day one. The 90% completion is the engineered design.
NAACP President Wilbert Woodruff hopes the city will put the project on a fast track.
As a citizen of Athens myself, I'm very disappointed, as I foresaid, about the decision that the city has taken as to not to act in a timely fashion that they has promised this community.
The city is in ongoing negotiations with landowners of the project area to acquire easements and properties which we're told by the city will advance the improvements in a large portion of the project.
And if you live in Florence, you could soon see your water rate increase after Mayor Ron Tyler made a proposal for a significant increase on Facebook. And he's saying it's needed to keep up with city growth and aging facilities. The price hike would affect residential consumers across the board by up to 50%. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo shows us the city's cash flow when it comes to water.
The city of Florence is proposing a significant water rate hike after nearly 15 years without a large increase. The new cost would raise rates by up to 50%, a change that's up to par with other cities in the area. Mayor Ron Tyler says the change is needed because the water system is reaching a critical point, saying the cost to treat the water is more than the city is earning in revenue. And that's been the case for years, with increasing costs in maintenance, labor, and materials. In addition, the city is facing aging infrastructure and a federal mandate to remove toxic chemicals called PFASs from the water. That means while costs are increasing, so is the need for new investments in the city's water treatment. Florence Mayor Ron Tyler says it's a math problem that won't work out without a residential rate increase.
We do not have enough revenue coming in to meet our expenditures. So this, when we're looking at this rate increase, this is not giving anybody a pay raise. We're not buying new equipment. That we're trying to get up to keep our operations manageable and sustainable and prepare us for for the repairs and the operations that are needed.
It's all pending a city council vote, which the city hopes can be resolved and put into effect by July. In Florence, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
Mayor Tyler says the goal isn't to shock customers, but to help provide people with better water quality as the city works to keep up with costs. As we gear up to celebrate America's 250th anniversary this summer, a new exhibit in the Shoals is honoring our nation's heroes one stitch at a time. The Florence Lauderdale Visitor Center has been transformed into a sea of red, white, and blue to showcase the quilts of valor. The quilts aren't just blankets. They're symbols of healing and gratitude for veterans who fought for our nation, featuring the work of the Hen House Quilters. Fox 54's Logan Alexandra Russell shows us the new exhibit.
As America celebrates its 250th anniversary, inside the Florence Lauderdale Visitor Center, these fabrics tell a story of service. These quilts are the work of the Athens Hen House Quilters, one of 4 chapters of the Quilts of Valor, located in North Alabama, all representing a larger mission. A mission that began in 2003 with a mother's dream for her son deployed in Iraq.
Quilts of Valor was started in 2003 by a mother whose son had been in combat, and she had a dream one night about her son who had been injured, and the wrapping him in a quilt and him feeling the love, and that's how it all started.
Creating these pieces is a rigorous process. They must be 100% cotton in certain sizes to be officially registered. These quilters often use their own funds or donations while spending weeks making quilts to ensure our veterans are honored.
It's such an honor for us, not only for us to be able to show people what our community can do, but what our community is doing for veterans and service members. The beauty that it not only gives visually, but it's heartfelt.
The exhibit is open today and tomorrow. If you know a service member who deserves this honor, you can submit a nomination through the Foundation's National Registry online. In Florence, Logan Alexandra Russell, Fox 54 News.
This exhibit is free to the public until 2 p.m. tomorrow. If you would like to nominate a veteran or service member in your life to receive their own quilt, you can visit qovf.org to start the process. Severe weather season certainly activated. Well, Madison County residents now have more options to stay safe during severe weather, like tonight's with the opening of 2 new storm shelters. As the county continues to grow, District 4 Commissioner Phil Vandiver says officials want to make sure everyone has access to a safe place during storms. One of the new shelters can hold up to 400 people, built strategically in an area that's seen tornadoes in the past. The county plans to keep adding shelters as the need grows, with locations chosen based on space and accessibility.
First night that we had a storm go close by, they couldn't get everybody in yet. So I told them, as soon as I make my way around and get everybody else a shelter, I'll come back and put you a second one. So that's what we did with one of the new storm shelters. We went back and put them a second one so they can have as much space as they need to have people there. And if people need them, we'll put a third one there.
Vandiver says they're also looking ahead with plans for another shelter in Tony, which could hold around 100 people. But that shelter would be built at the volunteer fire department once the new station is complete. You can keep up with all weather impact alert updates anytime, anywhere with our 24/7 weather stream on Fox 54 Plus. Download on your TV, watch for free. Newmarket residents are taking legal action to stop a proposed sewage treatment plant near the Flint River. They say the project could impact water quality in the community, and now they're asking a judge to block the project before construction begins. Concerns about the project first came to light during a public hearing last October, where residents and environmental experts questioned the facility's impact on the local environment. Fox 54's Valentina Chalala spoke with concerned residents about why they say the risk is just too high.
This river could soon carry treated wastewater, and that's what has neighbors taking this fight to court. They say a proposed sewage plant near the Flint River could change how this water is used for good. The lawsuit argues discharge upstream could impact water quality downstream. A local group tested the river, finding there's just 1 E. coli colony now, but they say levels above 2 could make it unsafe for swimming.
This lawsuit is aiming to protect this neighborhood, our families, from this one sewage treatment plant. What we need to do is establish development protections in Madison County. As the county is growing, as we're getting all these wonderful new community members and neighbors, we really need to establish development protections to ensure that there's not incompatible development.
To help cover legal fees, a group called Keep the Flint River Clean hosted a yard sale, receiving donations from residents and even kayaking companies who could be impacted by the sewage plant.
We are going to be in a long legal battle, and we have a lot to get us started, but we're in it for the long haul and we won't give up. And our community is wonderful, and we're all united because of our love and use of the Flint River.
An online petition opposing the project has now gained more than 1,400 signatures. The case now heads to court, where a judge will decide whether construction can move forward. In Newmarket, I'm Valentina Chalala, Fox 54 News.
Many other residents say the Flint River is usually clean, and they want to keep it that way for fishers, kayakers, and those living downstream. The city of Huntsville kicking off Historic Preservation Month with a focus on local indigenous history, cultures, and people that helped form the city we know today. The city will be celebrating events throughout the month with the theme of telling the full story of America, highlighting areas like Big Spring Park, Montesano, Ditto Landing, and the Wade Mountain Greenway. A representative from the Porch Band of Creek Indians describes this month's importance for the community.
We've been incredibly fortunate to be allowed to, have a platform such as this to kind of talk about, our history, talk about how we can, preserve, some of these ancient spots, our language, our culture, and everybody plays a part in doing that, whether that's oral tradition, partnering with tribes, partnering with communities to figure out ways to, preserve our legacies for the long term.
The city will host different events like Porch Fest, guided walking tours, and a panel discussion, all during the month of May. Emocionado, which means excited. Well, I'm excited to introduce this educator. Her love for the Spanish language and the culture of Latin countries splashed across her classroom, inspiring her students dentro y fuera, in and out of her classroom. Meet this week's Fox 54's top teacher, Katie Moore from Hazel Green High School.
The theme this year is Centroamerica, which includes 6 different countries.
Take a walk in Katie Moore's class.
This is our exhibit for our state convention.
And she'll take you on a global trip.
It's really important to be aware of others' cultures and understanding of their language.
Without leaving your home, Moore is the sole Spanish teacher at Hazel Green High School.
Spanish 1, Spanish 2, Spanish 3, Spanish 4. It's all her.
The sole instructor who's been teaching for 15 years, spending the last 4 at the home of the Trojans.
Yeah, I graduated from Buckhorn High School, had a really great Spanish teacher there, and then went to UAH and had another awesome Spanish teacher there.
And it's led her here. What's so unique about Moore's lessons is that students take their knowledge from inside this classroom outside to another.
We have students competing in academic categories, cultural activities such as singing and dancing and art.
This competition at the University of Montevallo Friday. But the work begins before they even leave the classroom.
She has them, before they can enter in the room, they have to answer a question in Spanish. It's legit, okay? She does a great job, and we enjoy having her.
So when she was given the chance to travel,
me and my husband chaperoned a group of 12 Hazel Green students, and we went to Costa Rica.
Moore jumped at the chance.
Zip lining, and we toured the rainforest and did volcanic hot springs and everything that you see in the projects that we're creating here. I just wish that they have a better understanding and appreciation for everyone that's around them.
Felicidades, Senora Moore. You can learn more about her trip to Costa Rica with her 12 students and catch the moment she was surprised as a Fox 54 top teacher on Fox 54 Plus. Download on your TV, watch for free. Also, nominate a teacher on fox54.com.
Fox 54 Plus has your news, sports, and weather. Start your evening with Fox 54 at 5:30, delivering the latest headlines and live reports straight from the scene. Then, stay informed with Fox 54 News at 9, featuring your Tennessee Valley certified most accurate weather impact team, tracking everything from tornado threats to traffic delays during severe weather. Fox 54 Sports Extra brings you more of what sports fans crave, with deeper insights, expert analysis, and all the action that matters most. On Fox 54 Plus, you'll also find Alabama politics, Plus 24/7 weather radar and real-time forecasts to keep you ahead of the storm. Looking for a quick recap? Don't miss Fox 54 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush. Fast-paced news updates, featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film. Die Hard fan? Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True crime warrior style? Killer Cases brings you gripping real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app. Available on Android and iOS devices. Streaming 24/7.
County 911, what's the address of your emergency room? Okay, your wife is in a bar, you said she's unresponsive?
This is what he's going to tell you. How to get out of that situation.
And I grabbed the gun.
Trying to find the first place to put a body. No, sir. The only thing they could do was kill him.
You want to say anything? We, the jury, and to find the defendant.
There's more to Fox 54 Plus with the Locked On Podcast Network. From the Tide to the Tigers, from college teams to pro, the Locked On Podcast Network gives you insights and analysis you just can't find anywhere else.
These kids, they want to play.
I don't think so. I think it was Chad Baker Mazzara.
Locked On Sports, streaming every day of the week and right here on Fox 54 Plus.